Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. So what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to be working on our reply. If you guys remember, we created our trades in the previous one. So we got our trade right here as replies. And the other one that we created was our policy of our reply policy. All right, so what we're going to do in this one, we're going to work on our create view, and we're going to work on our store method. Depends if the video gets a little bit too long, we're going to do the store method actually on its own because we need to create a job for that and all that kind of stuff. But we need the user to be able to create a reply. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to create a public function with a store method, and inside that it will have a request. Right, this is just a request that use Illuminate HTTP request. So when you create a controller, this request will actually be in there. And what I want to do, I just want to return request. Right, so what you could have done is you can do a die and dump as well, but I'm just going to do a return the request just to see what variables gets passed, what input values get passed to the request. Right. So the next thing I'm going to do, just go to your show method right here. All right, so the first thing that I want to do actually is if the user is authenticated, I want them to see the form. If they're not authenticated, they must actually, let's just do that quickly. So if the user is authenticated, they're going to see the form. If they're not, they're going to see something else. All right, for that, I'm just going to create a div. But before that, let me just show you the form again before we actually do this. Just delete that. Let's go back. Right, so this is what the user will see in the browser right here. So let me just go to the form. Right, so if I click on any one of these, let me just click on the top one, they will automatically see the form right here. And this is not a good user experience if they have to click, and when they click the post, they have to log in again. So I kind of want if this form to only show if the user is logged in, but if they're not logged in, I want to show something else like log in order to post, log in or something. We can put a message like that and then actually put a login button right here. Okay, so let's do that. When you design, you always have to think about the user's experience and your user interface, because you might do a lot of fancy designs, but the thing is, if it's not a good user experience, then it doesn't serve actually quite a nice purpose. It will actually just put people off your website. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is else. Just remember, we all don't always achieve that, but you can try. All right, so the next thing is we just going to create a class on this div. Let's do this. BG blue. I'm just going to be to BG blue 200. Okay, and I'm going to give it a padding of padding X of 2. Let's do a little bit better. 4. Let's try that, and padding Y of 1. Right, I just used Emmet to just create that div quickly. Right, so we put in some Tailwind classes, so padding X on the X of that and padding Y of 2. So on the X-axis 4 and on the Y-axis 2. Then just the background of that. So I'm just going to do H2, and I'm just going to say, please log in to leave comment. Just like that. All right, and the next thing that I want to do is let's just create a flags. This one flags and justify between. Where is it? There it is. All right, so flags justify between, okay, and then the background. So now I just want to add a link. So anchor tag, and the link will basically go to the route, and the route is going to be a login. And I'm just going to put login. Okay, so these two will be justified between each other. So this will be on the left, this one will be on the right. Okay, so let's see if we can see that. So as you can see, if we refresh, you can see please log in to leave a comment, and then we got our login button right there. So what you could have done is you could have put it underneath the button. Okay, but for me, I'm just going to just make this Just give it some more padding and just round the borders off. Okay, but you can decide however you want to do it. Okay, so if the user please log in to leave a comment, and they can just click the button right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give it all around padding of 4 and text gray, 500 and rounded borders. Okay, and that's all good. Maybe 700. Okay, let's see if it looks okay now. Let's refresh. Right, it just looks a little bit better, but you can decide if you want to put it underneath. Okay, so the first thing that they will see, okay, please log in to leave a comment, just to kind of make it easy for them. Right, so what we do is if the user logged in, they can just click now this button right here. Okay, so they will get to this page, which is good. But now the problem that they might find is if you actually log in, then they will not be redirected back to where they were. Okay, so John at example.com, and we can just go to password. Okay, now we did go back to where we were. Right, so we got we got it all done. So that's good. All right, I was expecting it to actually go to the home page, but it actually came back here. All right, so this is kind of the experience we want. So if the user is logged in, where they can actually see the form, now they can actually create a post. All right, so this part is just hard-coded, and we're not going to worry about that now. So once we finished with the store method, we can actually want to show it. All right, so let's update this form right here. All right, so what we want to do is when we go back, all right, we just want to add the form. All right, so this is just a Blade UI Kit component form. All right, and what this form already have it in is already got a CRF token and a post method. So only thing that we need to add here is the buttons and obviously the label or the error input right there. Okay, so we're just going to add an action. Okay, the action is going to be the replies route. Just put it on that route. It's going to be replies.store. Okay, so and the next part that we need in here is we need the X form error. Okay, and that not like that. My finger's a little bit cold this morning because for me it's very cold right now. So X form class error, and this will be for the body. Right, the about page is obviously not for this one, so this one's just going to be for the body. Right, I'm just going to create two divs. This div that's handled the top part, and we're going to create another div for the button. And this div, I'm just going to display grid. Okay. Right, and inside that, I'm just going to go to our create button. You see when the threads create, we're just going to pick, get that button, copy it, and just paste it inside here. And the button, I'm just going to give it a class or flag, justify self, and there's just a tailwind class to just style it at the end. And this is just going to be a post. Right, so we got that part, this part. Let's just see if everything is in there. Right, this I need to fix. This needs to be dot error, like this. All right, I just didn't see that part when we actually created it. All right, so we got an X form error. This part right here is the same one that we use for our titles. Right, so let's see if it works. As you can see, we got our form right here. So let's just type in something and just do a post. Now, as you can see, we got our post right there. As you can see, we got our body with our WYSIWYG editor div and the post actually in there. So all is good. Right. Just going to put a margin top of 4. because that button was a bit too close for me. And just to give it some space between the two right there. Right, so what we're going to do in the next one, so we got our form all done. So if I just refresh again, so you can see, so we got our form all set up now. So in the next one, what we're going to do is we can actually create a job to handle the request right here. All right, so yes, let's cancel that. Right, so in the next one, we will be able to just to create a job to handle the request and all that kind of stuff. All right, thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you don't, please give it a dislike. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.